Hey everyone, it's the Angry Honey Badger here today. It's time to take a look at Masteries for the preseason or season 4. Along with me today, we do have Ranger with us. How you doing, Ranger?
I'm doing fantastic, and I am excited for these mastery pages.
We have a few more to bring to you. This is part 2. If you missed part 1, there's a link in the description. It can take you back there and you can see what you missed out on if you're wondering what you should do with those Masteries pages. But we're going to go ahead and cover a couple more today. So let's go ahead and start off today with our first page. We're going to be calling this one AP Jungle. This is for some of those junglers that are going to be building more ability power damage based items, and those may be champions such as maybe a Diana or maybe an Evelyn, maybe even a Fiddlesticks, but there's a few different champions you could obviously take this with. What we're going to do with this page is we're going to take 9 points in the offense, 21 in the defense, and 0 in utility. Ranger, want to run us through what's going on in that offensive side?
Yeah, of course. So, okay, for the AP offensive side, we're going to put the 4 into Sorcery. That gives us our cooldown reduction. 1 into Butcher, because it's always nice to do 2 additional damage. 3 into Mental Force, and then 1 into Arcane Mastery. This gives us the AP damage that we need, and also the cooldown reduction to help us.
And over on the defensive side, we're going to go ahead and put 2 points into Block, which is going to help us out with that just decreased damage coming in. We're going to put 2 points also into Tough Skin, because reducing the damage from neutral monsters is going to help us survive.
And then we put the 1 point into Unyielding. We're going to put the 3 points into Veteran Scars, and the 1 point into Bladed Armor.
As for the next line, we're going to put a point into Juggernaut for that maximum health increase, and then points into Hardiness and Resistance to help us with overall just armor and magic resist.
And then we're going to skip Tier 4 entirely, go to Tier 5, and put the 4 points in Tenacious.
And then that final point will be put into that Legendary Guardian, which will help you with the crowd control effects. That's pretty much going to sum up an AP Jungle page. You can take this with many different champions, just kind of depends. If their kit kind of leans toward AP, or if you want a little bit maybe more damage from it, or let's say you're Maokai, somebody like that who just kind of scales better with that AP, you can do this because it still brings you 21 in the defense. Now, if you are somebody who is going to be playing someone like Fiddlesticks, with a champion like Fiddlesticks and not having to rely on defense in the jungle just because Drains provides so much health, you can actually take a really similar AP mid page with him. It's really going to give him the same benefits and actually better damage later on through the offense you get on that side of the tree. So somebody like that actually can go with a normal page just because of the sustained drain gives him. But for any other AP jungler and you want a little bit more defense, this is a page to take. The next page we're going to talk about today kind of addresses multiple areas. We're going to call this one 80 top or 80 mid. What this champion is somebody maybe like a Riven or a Zed or a Talon. This champion, you're going to be building a lot of damage typically on them. So what we're going to do with this page is we're going to take 21 in the offense and 9 in the defense. Start us off in that offensive tree, Ranger.
All right, so we did miss this in the first time, but we're going to go through it again. These are your champions like Riven, Wukong, where you definitely want the attack speed and not the cooldown reduction, and then 1 into Butcher.
In the next tier, we're going to put a point into Expose Weakness, helping us out there, and then Brute Force, and also points into Feast to help us with that health and mana coming back while in lane.
And then on tier 3, we want to put the 1 point into Martial Mastery, because we want the 5 attack damage, which is amazing, and then the 3 points into Executioner, just to help us out when they are getting a little bit low in life.
Down below that, we're going to put 3 points into Warlord for increased bonus attack damage. Then we're also going to be putting 3 points into Devastating Strikes for increased armor and magic penetration. And then finally, that 1 point into Havoc for overall increased damage.
And over on the defensive side, we're going to put the standard 9 points in, where we do 2 into Block, 2 into Recovery, 1 into Unyielding, 3 into Veteran Scars, and then 1 into Juggernaut.
Once again, this page is for a champion you're going to be primarily building damage on. Riven, Talon, Zed, any of those people you're going to typically try to get a lot of damage early on, this page will benefit them most. As for our next page, we're going to go ahead and cover something a little bit different than the other support pages we covered in the previous video. In the previous video, we had 2 pages, one of them called Support Classic and one's called Support Caster. Neither of these specifically looked into a very tanky support, so we're going to look at that now with a couple of pages here.
And the tanky supports we're talking about are like Leona and Taric, and that's why if you look at the tree, on tier 1, we put 2 into Block and 2 into Enchanted Armor, because both those champions increase their armor and magic resist tremendously, and these talent points really help increase the overall tankiness early and late game of the champion.
Down below that, we're going to be putting a point into Unyielding, and then 3 points into Veteran Scars for that extra health.
And then next we put 1 point into Juggernaut, 3 into Hardiness, and 3 into Resistance. Again, we're just keeping up with the theme of being as tanky as possible.
And then finally, we have 1 point left over to play with. We like to think you should put this into Swiftness because it will give you that reduced effectiveness of slows. You could also take this point and move it over into reinforced armor if you're worried about those crit strikes, or even you could move it into evasive, which will reduce the area of effect damage by 4%.
And that's a really good point because the 1 point into swiftness would not really matter if you're playing against a lane that has no slows. So again, before you launch for the game, look at the matchup you have in bot lane that you're going to be playing against and decide, do I need the point to swiftness? Do I need the point to reinforced armor? Or need the 1 point into invasiveness? It's really important that you stay conscious of who you're going up against.
And as for the utility side of the page, what we're going to do with that is put a point into Phase Walker, which will help you with that recall, and then 3 points into Fleet of Foot for a little bit of extra movement speed.
And we're going to put the 3 points into Summoner's Insight. It's really important with these champions that go all in that you have the reduced cooldown of your summoner spells so you're always at your full potential. And then put the 1 point to Alchemist because we love that duration.
Below that, we're going to also then put a point into Culinary Mastery. At that point, we were thinking about moving our other points actually over in the defensive tree, but the reason we didn't do 21 over there is because we really don't want to miss out on these next 3 points. We don't want to miss out on Greed, which then unlocks us the next tier to help us with Scavenger and with Wealth. This bonus gold is very important for almost every support of any kind. The bonus gold helps us out with items early on, and Scavenger is going to help you just gain all this extra gold over time along with Greed. This extra gold income can go towards those items to help you build tankier. The next page we're going to take a look at now is called Hybrid. Now this page isn't really used for a lot of champions, and typically we like to think it's used primarily for Kayle or Akali. You'd also use it on Jax if you're going to kind of build more of an AP style Jax, but overall it's kind of a hybrid page, helps out with both sides. Range, you want to talk us through the offensive tree and what it helps us with?
Yeah, of course. The first point we put into Double-Edged Sword, and the reason why we can just easily say this is worth it is because Akali and Kayle have great heals. So the Double-Edged Sword doesn't hurt us as much. Then we put the 4 points into Sorcery because cooldown reduction on both those champions is amazing. And Butcher helps us in lane, helps us farm minions. The next point we go into Feast because, again, it's lane sustain. 3 points into Mental Force because we want that overall AP increase. And then Expose Weakness. Now this is the beautiful part about being a hybrid. You put 1 point into Spell Weaving, which is going to help us with our spell damage overall. And then you put the 1 point into Arcane Mastery, which gives us that 8 ability power straight up, and 3 points into Executioner. Then again, we put that 1 point into Blade Weaving, which is going to help our attack damage overall with the amount of spells that we cast. And then 3 points into Archmage. 3 points into Devastating Strike. We want the magic and armor. We can benefit from both so well. And then 1 point to Arcane Blade, because with these champions, we are going to be going AP. The more AP we have, the better Arcane Blade is. And then the 1 point to Havoc to increase our overall damage on all of our abilities, all of our spells.
Then finally, we're going to have those 5 extra points left over. What we're going to want to do with those is take those into that defensive tree. We're going to go ahead and hit up Block for that reduced incoming damage. 2 points into Recovery for a little bit of health coming in too, and then 1 point into Unyielding helping us out there.
If you really feel like when you're playing Kayle that you don't have enough mana regen, you can put the 3 points in Meditation, 1 into Phase Walker, and then you can put the points into Summoner Inside or maybe Alchemist. But the important thing is that you're doing the most damage. You really don't care about the mana regen because you're just trying to get to lane, destroy something, and then head back.
And the final page we're going to take a look at today is what I like to call tanks. As you can see right now, there's no points anywhere on this page. A lot of people have been asking about what's the tank page masteries I should build. This is kind of more of an idea or mindset rather than a role in the game. Ranger, why is this not a specific page?
Well, because this isn't an MMO where the person that you're fighting is just mindless. You don't have a taunt. You can't make people attack you unless you're playing Rammus. So the important thing is that you always do damage. Be a threat. If you're just tanky, people can go around you. But if you're tanky and going to crush the ADC in the back, it's even more incentive for them to focus on you. So if you are playing like an AP tank, let's say Nautilus or Malphite, you want to put the 9 points into offense where it would help your AP. But if you're playing a champion like Darius, where it's just completely physical, you want to put the 9 points in offense into the actually attack damage abilities.
These pages you'd probably take for those champions would be those pages that are similar. Those AP jungle page where you get the defense and you get that offense for that AP side. And the other page you would take is the offensive tree with 9 and the defense for 21 if you're taking that top with the attack damage. Overall, you still want to have some kind of damage because with no threat of damage at all, you are completely ignored.
Again, tank is a mindset. Just because you have a bunch of health and a bunch of armor doesn't make you tanky. When you're in there and you're thrashing people you're initiating, then you become a tank. Then you become a beacon of aggro, which is what you want to do overall. We've all seen that Shen that has 4,000 health, 300 armor, 200 magic resist, but doesn't do damage, and teams just go around him. Yeah, he has a taunt, but for that 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds, you might attack him, then you just walk around him. It's important that you do the damage also. There is such a thing as too tanky.
These are the final Masteries pages that kind of pick up those roles where a few champions fall into them. From there, it's pretty much individual pages if you want to tweak them yourself to other champions. We can hit those up later in other videos as well.
These are the points that we think are best. However, if it does not fit your playstyle or you think some other point might be better somewhere else, put it there. Try it a couple games and see if it works out for you.
If you didn't see part 1, there's a link in the description where you can go check that out and see what we did for those first 10 Mastery pages in case you missed any of those before. Once again, go check out Ranger's channel. Also in the description down below, he does awesome League of Legends content as well. But other than that, guys, thanks for checking out this video, and just good luck out there on the fields of justice.